Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about how to finish up your Radiosonde data graphs document. So hopefully at this point you've watched the last two videos, you've already clicked on the link to Radiosonde data, and you've watched the pressure graph, the temperature graph, and now you have these two absolutely beautiful graphs and you need to figure out how to actually analyze them. That's what we'll be doing all day on Thursday or Friday this week, depending on when you're watching this. So now that you have your graph, there's still something to do on this page. So what you're going to do is once you have your pressure graph, it says double click on the picture below to add your pressure graph. Now, in order for me to add this, it is possible for me to click back and forth between these pages, but it's kind of tedious and it's not super fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmaximize my page. Now, if you're working on a Chromebook or HP, anything but a Mac, these buttons are going to be on the far right side, but they're still going to be in the same order. The button on the far right, it's going to tell me I can exit full screen, which is absolutely what I want to do. And you can see what I got going on here is I have this whole screen is now, like I can see my background. I'm going to actually pull this tab down and I'm going to move it over so that I can split my screen so that I can see two things at once. Now, I know this isn't always ideal and your screen is possibly smaller than mine, but in order to click back and forth and see trends, this is the easiest way to do it. So if I want to resize things, I can make sure my mouse turns into that kind of double-edged black arrow, and I can slide it over to make it smaller. I can slide this one over to make that smaller, but I want to be able to see both sides of this window. So from here, what I'm going to do, let me pull that out. Okay, boom. So I'm going to double click on this picture because it says insert the picture below. So when I double click on it, there's further instructions in here for how I'm going to analyze or just manipulate my graph a little bit more to help me in this next phase of the lab, which is the interpretation phase. So the first thing, it says insert your graph below. So I'm going to go back to my data page and I'm going to find my pressure change graph. I'm going to go in the upper right hand corner, hit those three dots, and I'm going to copy my chart. That's just saying it's copying this particular graph. Now I click back on my other picture and I hit Control V. It's going to ask me if I want to link to the spreadsheet. I particularly like to paste unlinked. That's just if anything happens to my old data, it's not going to disappear here. So that's why I paste unlinked. And you can see, oh, wow, look at that beautiful graph. Ms. Burke, great job. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate it. So from here, now that I have my graph in here, I need to follow the instructions. It says use the shapes or the scribble tool to add the items below to your pressure graph. All right, cool. I knew that. Letter A says draw circles to represent ions at the altitude they occur. So you can see down here that ions are just single circles. So I can go up to my shapes and I can add single circles. So I can draw like one, and you can even make them different colors if you want. It's green on here, so if you want to make it green so that it always matches, you can do that. And then instead of drawing like a bunch of them, you can just hit Control V, Control V, Control V. So we're going to put these ions, and it asks at the altitude they occur. Now, at first glance, you might be thinking, Ms. Berg, ions, we haven't talked about these charged particles in months. How do I know where the ions are? Well, you want to look back at your data table. So the Radiosonde data has this column that says notable changes in composition. And this is where it's going to tell you about those different particles and where they're located. So if it says draw circles to represent ions at the altitude they occur, I'm going to look over here for what level my ions are at. And wherever I have the most amount of ions, that's where I'm going to click and drag them on my graph. Now, you don't need to fill up everything. You don't need to fill up, like if it's found between 95 and 115 kilometers, you don't need to fill up the whole top. I mean, I suppose you could if you want to. I recommend just filling out a section. The most important part to make sure you get full points is that they're covering the altitude they're found at. So again, you're finding these ions, look in the chart. Okay, where that? Oh, ooh, look at this, high level of ions. What? And they're found, okay, so that's 115, that's my altitude, so that's 115 kilometers. They're still found there. Okay, so here's where it changes. So I should have ions going all the way to 90 kilometers, but not at 85. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put this circle and make sure it's covering up that 90 kilometers. And now Miss Berg, when she comes to check your beautiful graph, she can tell that that's where your ions are located. Again, you can fill up this whole top portion if you want, or you can just do a section of it like this. That's totally fine. I'm going to delete that, delete that, delete that. So you want to have ions located on there. Ozone particles. Notice down here, it's like a group of 3 circles. So what you can do for this, and actually I can just keep my ion that I have here. I'm going to copy and paste it again. And I'm going to shrink it up a little bit. Whoop. I'm going to change the color too, so that it's really obvious that this is a different thing. Oh man, that's a weird shape. A different thing than the ozone. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to copy and paste that. I'm going to stack these on each other. In fact, I might just leave these on the document for you all. That way you don't have to go through the trouble of making it yourself. That's good enough for my ozone. I'm going to highlight all of it, and I'm going to right click and group them. That way, when I click one, it's going to drag them all. Yeah, now I can drag the whole item. That's pretty sweet. All right, and then you'll do the same thing with ozone particles, where you'll see where are those ozone particles. And then finally, your UV waves, you want to have the squiggly line with an arrow at the end. So you can go to this line function, and it'll let you do this curve, which is pretty sweet. Or you can do the scribble function. Whichever one you want, that's fine. It is purple, so I'm going to change. Okay, so I've got that. I've got my scribble. And then I'm going to actually click on it so that my cursor changes to a plus sign. And then I'm going to whoop, 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 whoop. And I'm going to put it all the way down until it stops. So it says this line should end where the UV waves get absorbed. Now remember, UV waves come from the sun. So they come from way up here, and they're going to go down until wherever it tells you it stops. So wherever we have low levels of UV radiation, that's where our line should stop. So I'm going to change that to purple. So you need to pay attention to where it stops in the composition column. And then wherever it does, that's where you will draw your arrow and have, wow, hopefully you do a better job than I do with the end of your arrow. But that's good enough. I'm not a great drawer, so we'll take it as it comes. So that's how you do this particular assignment. You grab these ozone particles, bring it over, ions, bring them over. Don't forget to copy them. You should have multiple of those particles, and they should fill up the altitudes that they occur at. Once you have that, you'll save and close. And then you'll do the same thing for your temperature graph. Now you're graphing the same things. So you're going to have all of your ions, ozone particles, and UV waves at the exact same locations. Why is it repetitive? Well, it's because we have 2 different graphs, but I want you to be able to compare those 2 graphs and see those trends. So that's why we're doing that in this particular video. I wish you luck. If you have any questions, let me know. But you should have those graphs filled out by the end of this assignment. So good luck.